So I had faith of the heart, and they finally came through. We have the first wave of the Star Trek Prodigy action figures, after like 6 months of waiting.
It's morphin' time!
Hello, this is Soundout here, and welcome back to another Star Trek Playmates toy review. Finally. I don't know what took these so long to come out. These were supposed to have released online in October of 2022. It is now April of 2023, and we finally have the first wave of Star Trek Prodigy, which isn't even all the figures they've shown. So these are based on the what is supposed to be kids-focused Star Trek show, Star Trek Prodigy, which has gotten a lot of kids into Star Trek, and it wrapped up its first season several months ago. And we are sitting here with figures based on the initial promo art. So we're a little behind, but we're going to take a look at these regardless. These are pretty, connected to their Season 1 appearances for the most part. And luckily, these came out before Season 2 hit, where I think they're going to have different looks. But first of all, we have Gwyndala, also known as Gwyn. What's nice about the Prodigy packaging, you got Star Trek Prodigy, you got the Protostar up here, the Nickelodeon logo, of course, because this is a Nickelodeon show, as well as a Star Trek show. What's interesting is you got this, tag here, Star Trek Gwyndala. I think it's a security tag. It's got, bars behind it. I'm not exactly sure. It's kind of a weird thing. You get a Star Trek Prodigy Supernova in-game unlock. This is for the video game that's on Switch and PlayStation and stuff. And what's funny is I see the little pamphlet back there. We'll look at it. But it looks like it's using prototype box art. How long have these been, in production? Holy cow. On the bottom, you can see 2022 Playmates for packaging design, 2022 CBS Studios. So yes, these were supposed to be 2022 figures. I don't know what the heck happened, but you got Gwyn here. On the back, you have a specific bio. So you got a bio of the characters. For those wondering, we don't know when Rock Talk is coming. We haven't seen her figure. We do know hologram Janeway is coming, and she will be, I guess, in the next wave, because she was supposed to be in this initial batch, but just did not get there. But we can see the bio for Prodigy. 6 very different intergalactic kids team up after escaping captivity and launching themselves into space aboard the USS Protostar. With the help of a hologram mentor, they warp across the Milky Way in search of Starfleet, answers, and a better future among the stars. Yeah, pretty basic bio. It would have been nice to just been like, hey, hologram Janeway, because Janeway. Anyways, we do have a bio for Gwyn. Gwyn is among the last of her kind. Her mastery of languages lets her communicate with any species the crew encounters. She uses her neuroflux abilities to manipulate her fretwork into anything she needs, like a battle sword and shield, which is what we got going on here. Packaging-wise, for Dal R'El and Murf, it's kind of interesting. Dal got packaged in with Murf. I think at the time these figures were coming out, people didn't like Dal that much, so Murf was the selling point. But, Murf there, pretty cool. So you got both of them, kind of same packaging design going on here. And then, of course, we got 2 bios for 2 characters. You got Dal R'El, an orphan with mysterious origins. Dal R'El is in search of a place to belong. He is only in charge of the USS Protostar because he says so, but with his can-do attitude, he's a good fit for the captain's chair. Dal believes the impossible is possible. Murf. Murf's an indestructible gelatinous blob of mischief of an unknown age and origin. Now even the Protostar's universal translator can make Murf understandable to the crew. Murf will eat anything, even torpedoes. It's interesting that, species unknown on both of these when we do get that revelation within Season 1. So very clearly these were designed earlier. And I just noticed the actual comm badge design for the Protostars here with that cool, intersected shape there, which, that's pretty cool that there's extra markings. Here we have Zero. Zero is a Medusan, which was a original series alien. Looks like Zero's got a flight stand in there, which we'll look at later. Zero is a bodiless, genderless, energy-based life form whose true appearance can drive anyone insane. To protect everyone, Zero wears a containment suit made from cast-off materials. Curious and intelligent, Zero's a telepath who just wants to help those around them. So pretty cool. I'm really excited to see this because I think this is the most action figure-y design we've got there. So that'll be good. And then lastly, we have Jankom Pog. Now, Jankom Pog looks great because Jankom Pog is great, and he is a Tellarite. He's one of my favorite characters, honestly. I think he's hilarious. But we're going to look at him. But on the back, bio, Jankom Pog tinkers with anything mechanical, even when he's not supposed to, and he has yet to find an engine he can't fix with his trusty multi-mitt. Like any Tellarite, Jankom loves to argue, but he's great at getting a crew out of a jam. So yeah, let's take a look at Jankom Pog, Zero, Dal R'El and Murf, and Gwyndala in the reverse order. We're starting with Gwyn, because you know what? She drives a lot of the plot of the show. Let's do it. All right, so we're starting with Gwyn, and here she is. I do think that, in general, you know, while I can complain about the wait time on these figures, they turned out pretty nice. So we can see Gwyn here has a lot of great painted details. For being a $12.99 US retail figure, I'm pretty impressed that she's got, you know, the color fade from the top to her braids. That is like, you can see the seam line of where the hair is a separate piece, but they did paint like the gold bands here, her gold collar, the shirt details. And what's interesting is I thought that the actual, like her weapon, her metal weapon that moves and slides down her arm, it's not removable in any way, so that means her holding any of the weapons is slightly inaccurate. But they actually sculpted this in. This is actually molded into her arm, and so it's a different mold than the other arm. It actually is sculpted in on top of being painted gold, which is pretty impressive, because I didn't expect sort of that level of detail from a Playmates figure. Other than that, the legs are pretty simple and bland, but not bland. Pretty sparse on details, just because that's just the nature of the design. But they're taking these incredibly detailed animation models from the show and working them into a nice action figure. So I'm pretty impressed by that, honestly. Not too much else to say. I mean, she's not got any action features or anything, but she does have a whole range of articulation. So her head, it's on a ball joint, but you can't really get... You can get a little bit side to side, because they did sculpt her hair to rest a little higher. You get a little bit left and right, but that's about it. No real up or down. You got shoulders that move out, 360. Elbows that bend, also 360. And something of note, I noticed this on several of these figures when I opened them. Some of them had their elbows like backwards, where you can see like the little like divot down here where it should be, and it doesn't go as far. So sometimes you may have to just turn the arm around, because the wrists swivel, and then sometimes, yeah, they got packed like this. And then it's like, oh, well, that's not correct. You got to get it like this so that she can have the full movement there. What's also cool is that the arm does have a little bit of a restriction due to the shoulder pads, so it can't quite go 360, but it still has good range. Hips-wise, her hips are on ball joints, much like the other Star Trek Universe figures. So they move forward, back, you know, in and out. Knee joint, rotation, and then an ankle that pivots forward and back a little bit. And then it rotates left and right, but no side-to-side angle. But she can pose pretty good, which is really nice, because she comes with actually the most weaponry of any of the characters. And let's take a look at that. So first of all, we do have the sword. You know, the sword's typical, I think probably her most used weapon in the series. So you got that going on. She holds it pretty good. Now this hand does have like an open hand look to it, but it doesn't really hold anything all that well. I honestly think you can just do this. But that also is more canon, since this metal that's on her arm slides down to become a weapon. It's psychically controlled. She does come with this shield, which is really nicely sculpted, and there's two different handles on it. So you can get this into this hand like that. So now you got the shield, and if you wanted to, because of the flatter nature of the handles, you line it up just right, you can get her to hold it with two hands, which is pretty good. Now, if you want her just to hold it with this hand, there's just not enough grip strength. You can kind of get it, but it just falls instantly. And then what's really cool for all us Trek nerds is she does come with her weapon in the form of a batleth, which clips into the hand here, and then she can rest it with the other hand, and that is the most natural looking batleth that Playmates has ever produced in their 30-year history with Star Trek. It always looked weird on Worf and everybody else back on the old line, but there we got Gwyn's batleth. So that's pretty cool. It was nice because they did interact with some Klingon artifacts in the show, and then she was like, oh, I could use that, and that's a pretty effective weapon. So that's pretty cool. Other than that, there is one other accessory she comes with, which is the actual comm badge base. It is based on the Protostar's unique comm badge design, which I do quite love. And considering all the live-action figures were stuck with this more generic Delta base, it's nice to see the Prodigy figures get this upgrade. And she can stand on it pretty good. Now, for me, you know, you could have her standing like this on it. I just, you know, kind of rotate it a little bit and have her stand like that. And I'm going to give her the sword here, So I can say that Gwyn is pretty great. She is like the most actiony of the action figures, but she's really fun to pose. Let's get some more dramatic posing options here, like with her sword. But you can actually get her to pose pretty good. The stand definitely helps for these more action-oriented poses like that. But yeah, look at that. She actually works as an action figure, less stock posing and more action-y. You also get this code for the video game, which you can see this was printed before they had the rating or the box art, which is just crazy because that was a heck of a long time ago. This game came out back in October, and in case you hadn't unlocked everything, here's a code to unlock Gwyn's upgrade. Yeah, I feel like if you got the game when it came out, or any time since, you probably already unlocked it. I probably already unlocked that, because I've had the game for a while. So yeah, I don't know if the code is super helpful, because these obviously were supposed to be out when the game was out last October, but it is there as well. So there's Gwyn. I think she looks great, and overall, just a terrific figure. All right, so here we have Dal next, and honestly, he looks pretty good. What's interesting is there's like some kind of details missing. These are, so I think I forgot to mention this with Gwyn, but these are based on kind of the promo art, the key art for the characters, not the in-series looks. Like none of them have the comm badge design on them, which would have been nice to see because that was what they had for the majority of Season 1. But if you look at the little like code card thing for the video game, you can see that he's got like this bandage wrap on his arms, which is just not present here, and I don't know if that is a concept design versus final design and the figure was already sculpted and it was too late. It happens, especially with a lot of CG work. Things get tweaked in production, and then, you know, any toys based on that will just go with whatever stage of production they got, and that may just be the case there. Other than that, I think it looks nice. I think the face is well done. A lot of painted details for the spots, of course, on the face, the neck, and the arms. Those are just, you know, details of him here. You can see they did a good job with his little, like, head tail and his hair. I like the paint wash on the hair as well. Really well sculpted, really well painted. I'm honestly pretty impressed by these because it sort of felt like, you know, Playmates put some effort into the live action figures, but they were a little low effort, whereas these are really high effort. Like, these are really, really good. So even with some minor inaccuracies here and there, I think they turned out looking really nice. So articulation-wise, he's got ball joint head. It looks left and right. Kind of goes on an angle either direction. No up and down, really. Oh, wait, he does have up and down. What am I talking about? Yeah, he's got a little bit of head bob. A little bit left and right as well. Shoulders move out. Shoulders move 360. Elbows bend. Elbows rotate. Wrists swivel. No waist. Hips move out. His are more restricted than Gwyn's. They move forward really far, not so much back. So he could get into a sitting position. Pretty natural, which is good. But like he can't do as much out and like none back. Knees, of course, bend and rotate. And then he doesn't actually have any ankle articulation. He is just kind of solid from the leg down. So he actually has less parts than Gwyn and the others do. He does come with 2 phasers. This is because in the game he uses specifically 2 phasers. So I think that's where they got the 2 phaser idea from. It is nice because you could get a phaser to another figure, except none of the other figures can hold the phasers because of the way their hands are designed. So, you know, just going to have to go with Dal and 2 phasers, plus, of course, his stand to get him on a pose there. So I don't think he's as dynamic as Gwyn. Gwyn's accessories are just like way more exciting because of all the bladed weapons she has and like the batlet. The phasers are cool, but as you can see, you know, kind of tricky to keep in the hands here. But once you do, let's get him on the stand here, and then boom, there you go. There's Dal. 2 phasers. Ahoy. What's really cool about Dal is he comes with Murf. So Murf is this wonderful little pile of goo who lives and floats around the ship and is just adorable and seemingly indestructible. And when we saw the pictures, I thought this was going to be like a hollow piece of plastic. It is. What I didn't realize it was squishy. Like, he's not super squishy. Like, he's not the kind of squishy that would like attract dust and become like sticky. But he actually does have some flex to him. Like, you squeeze him and you can almost see how the bottom part of this, I don't know if that's actually supposed to be removable. I think I popped the glue. Anyways, if you squeeze him too much, apparently the bottom part comes off. Anyways, I guess if I want to fill him with goo now, this doesn't seem like it's supposed to come off. It seems like it's glued, but I squeezed it too tight and now it fell out. And now I got to glue it again. So be warned, he is a little bit of a squishier material. There is some flex to him, but if you flex too hard, he's just gonna come apart. I don't think that's designed as a feature because it's not going back on. All right, I'm gonna go glue Murf, but yeah, he is squishy and he's adorable. So I was gonna do Zero next, but I'm gonna save Zero for last. We're gonna talk about Jankom Pog. Jankom Pog turned out really cool. I love the overall sculpt to him. He looks like a total brick, like this figure doesn't articulate at all, but he's actually got some surprising articulation uses. But specifically, once again, the paintwork is really well done. You got a lot of the details with the spots around the face and the chest and the head up here. You've got, you know, of course, his robot arm that turns into different tools for him, the different harnesses, the clothing options. He's got, I think, some more muted color details than some of the others. On the back here, you may notice these 2 pegs. I think so he can fit in the bubble. This is listed as a separate part. Essentially, you plug that in there and there. Boom, there you go. There actually is a instruction sheet included with Jankom that shows you how to do that. But you got that attached there, which is pretty good. And then, yeah, I mean, he looks nice. I don't know what else to say. I like the character, and he looks like a good version of the character. Articulation-wise, his head, which looks like a solid piece, actually does turn. It rotates 360. It is going to work like this because he really doesn't have a neck, you know, Tellarites and all that. Shoulders that move out, shoulders that move 360, elbows that bend, elbows rotate, wrist rotates, same with this wrist, works the same. Hips that are ball jointed, which was surprising. I thought they maybe just be straight cuts, but they're actually ball jointed. And then no, you know, ankle movement. So he's just got that. But honestly, it's pretty cool, and he can sit down. The fact all of these can sit gives me hope that we will see a playset of some kind for the Protostar. But yeah, he's got actual adjustment articulation. He's not a total brick of a figure. What's cool, too, is he does come with his trusty wrench, which can go in his hand here. It's interesting because I think it's supposed to just go in this hand, but yet it doesn't, like, hold super well. You can kind of see how it doesn't really stay in. Like, I think his hand just needs a little bit more clearance so you can get this in there, like squeezed in between the fingers. It's just like there's not enough of a grip on the back fingers. He can hold it if you're not moving the figure around. Now with the hand, you can pop the hand out like this. You can get 2 different tools. You get this one, which pops in like that, and it's kind of like a welding tool sort of thing. Looks a little bit like an Exocomp. But you got that going on. And then the other one, which I think is really fun, is kind of, you know, it's a survey tool or just straight up it's a hammer. I'm going to take it as a hammer. But yeah, so you got the hammer there. You can give him the wrench. Let's just have him hold it like this so it'll stay in place. He comes with the same stand as the other 2. And then boom, there you go. So, ta-da! There's Jankom. He also comes with one of these cards, which just unlocks the Jankom Pog interaction because he is actually not playable in the game. But there you go. There is Jankom with his weapons and accessories and engineering tools. Jankom Pog can fix it. All right, so here we have Zero, and I think that they are probably my favorite Playmates Star Trek figure ever at this point. I'm going to be honest. I think I'm really, really impressed with how this turned out. So what I love about the design of Zero, it's very non-traditional, right? Like there's the pod, and then the arms, and then the legs are super long. And it just gives this unique flavor and something that, you know, most likely you couldn't do as well in live action, of course, as an animation, which is kind of true to all the Prodigy designs. But I love the way this turned out. And then as an action figure, they're really well painted. You got all the golds, all the reds. There's like a minor like joint problem on mine where the pin isn't like fully through there. But you can't even notice like any of the pins or anything, which is really nice. Just a really solid, clean look. And the thing was, when I saw the figure, I was like, oh, that thing's going to be a statue. And it's not. There's actually much better articulation than I expected. So there's an actual rotation up in here where the actual pivots in and out on here. You can move the elbow in and out. The wrist swivels. Same with this arm, pivots out. Wrist turns here. Hips that move out, hips that move forward, back. Knees that bend, probably farther than any other figure has ever done in Playmates Star Trek. And then the feet rotate. Same for this leg, even though this leg looks a little different. And then this leg has the, you know, elbow or the knee swivel as well, which they both do. I'm kind of a little sidetracked because I'm just like, wow, that's an impressive range of articulation for a Playmates figure. My only complaint, and this is because it's a $13 figure, is that the actual Medusan energy here is a sticker. Like, it's not painted. It is straight up a factory applied sticker. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it is noticeably a sticker. And that is like the only complaint I have, because the rest of the accessories are really impressive. So, of course, you get, you know, the old design, you know, the old unlock card. This one's for an item, since you can't play as Zero in the game. There is an instruction sheet, which we'll go over in a moment. Then you have what looks like kind of a medical readout case, which looks cool. And you close it, and then you're like, how do they hold it? The answer is they don't, because none of these, I think you'd have to like hang it on a claw. That's the best you're getting. Yeah, I think that's kind of interesting, because I didn't think they would come with accessories considering like everything else they do. But you do get this, and it's really hard to open back up again. It's on like one of those hinges and pegs, but I'll just kind of leave that off to the side. You do also get a tricorder, which looks really cool. It's got a sticker applied, talking about stickers, kind of in that traditional Trek style. And then I have an extra sticker for some reason on the back of mine that's not supposed to be there, but that actually does hold in their hand pretty good. So they got that going on, and they can do readings on stuff, which is pretty cool. Now, of course, the big thing is the flight stand. Of course, they do come with the regular stand. Boom, pegs in the foot, all kind of cool. Don't really need that at the moment. The flight stand is pretty interesting, because just like in the series, Zero's legs retract into the body. So for the figure, you can just pull them out, just kind of get a grip on it, rotate it a bit, pop it out, and then boom, you got the floating pod on the stand. That is great. I didn't expect this. I didn't expect Playmates to go this far. This is something that the character does so much in the series that I was hoping that this was a feature, but it totally is a feature. Also adding to that, apparently you can remove the antenna as well as the two arms, though I'm not exactly sure why. I guess a couple times in the series, I think probably at the midpoint of the series, they had Zero as a ball only, but I can't get those arms out. They're kind of really far up in there. So, oh yeah, there we go. You can pull it out. But I'm not going to mess with the arms too much. I think, in general, there's the antenna comes out. It only goes back in one direction, like that. But anyways, you can pull the arms out. You probably just have to work on that one. But I think having Zero like this, or having them with the legs on, is cool. But more specifically, I kind of like the uniqueness of the floating with the little flight stand. That is freaking cool. This is... Legitimately, it may just be because of how surprising this figure is, but I think this is probably my favorite like Playmates Trek figure, just for its very unique nature and its multiple display options. It's not just standing there holding a phaser, standing there holding a tricorder. Like, you can have them like this, you can have them pose with the legs, you can have them trying to hold that. Like, there's so many options in the package. It makes it for a very impressive figure, especially at the $12.99 they sell for. I'm pretty impressed with this one. So height-wise, the Prodigy figures are definitely more to scale with the newer Star Trek Universe figures as opposed to the older ones, which is to be expected. These are kind of the same line, just in two different styles, whereas these, of course, are from, like, 30 years ago. But it's kind of nice to see, the height between them with Gwyn. Dal hits a little shorter, which is appropriate to the scale in the show. But, of course, here he is, again, next to Picard and Chakotay. Hey, they found Chakotay. Just to kind of get an idea of where he fits between the two scales. Of course, Jankom is not as tall as he is wide, so you get, kind of a different scale appearance here. And then here is Zero, where you can see that Zero is got, kind of antenna height on Picard, but actually kind of is just under what an original Playmates figure's size would be. And then, of course, Murf is this cute little slime lizard thing. Look at him. He's adorable. So here's all four of them, or all five of them together. This is great. I love these figures. They are terrific. If you're looking for the Star Trek Prodigy figures, they're starting to show up in stores. I know Amazon's been getting them, Target's been getting them, so keep an eye out. I really do like them. I got mine from Entertainment Earth, which is where I pre-ordered them from. I was surprised to see them ship when they did. I thought I was going to have to get them through Amazon or Target or something, but they did ship, and I was like, cool, I'm getting these reviews as soon as possible. So I hope you enjoyed this. I do think that in general, these figures are fantastic. I honestly think these are the best of the new Playmates Star Trek line by far. It does help that they are animated, and it does help that they have kind of more toyetic designs. but they're terrific. So if you want them for you, if you want them for your kids, they're definitely worth it. They feel sturdy, they feel fun. Honestly, you can't go wrong with these. But that does it for this video. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe notification bell for future Star Trek videos. Check out my social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Soundout12. My live streams Mondays at 5 p.m. Eastern. And Hero Club at HeroClub.com for Star Trek news and more. And my wonderful graphic designer on Twitter at DarkClaw643. And until next time, this is Soundout saying, live long and prosper.